Hey folks, how you doing? I'm back. I'm talking about readjustments that people have to make due to climate change. So we know that people have to move from their old neighborhoods due to floods, fires, etc. That's difficult, leaving the old neighborhood, etc. But that's not the hardest part when it comes to readjustment. The hardest part is emotional and psychological, especially the passionate aspect when it comes to changing the mentality. So we see that our passions keep us attached to our traditions, the things that we loved to do. Passions keep us attached to them, but we're going to have to make that change. You see, people are not going to be able to continue doing the things that they have been doing all their lives. Many things are going to have to change. And these things are deep-seated. They have to do with family and societal tradition. See? And passion keeps us tied to these things. And it's sad, but people don't know how to deal with the passion, that aspect of change. You see. So we see that the power of passion keeps us attached to earthly values. Strangely, the power of passion keeps people attached to people who they hate. Because hate is a passion. And hatred keeps people attached to the people they hate. And of course, it keeps them attached to people they love. Passionate love keeps you attached. Hatred also keeps you attached. See, so people really don't realize what they're up against when it comes to making these adjustments. They don't know what they're up against because of the passion involved, and the tentacles of passion leads to many different situations. Situations that people are going to have to detach themselves to in many instances, you see. So this adjustment or readjustment is like a redemption, you see. And it's difficult for people to redeem themselves. Not that they did something terrible, you know. It's just that they have to redeem themselves from the passionate control, you see, that overwhelms them. Especially when it comes to breaking up from something, leaving something behind, like traditional behavior. You have to leave that behind. In many instances, people are going to have to change to make these adjustments. Not only that, one thing about this is that once a person is able to make the readjustment, their perceptual capacity will increase because they have through making the adjustment, they have sort of loosened or broke away from much of the control that their passions have had over them relative to, their traditional values and whatnot. And because when passions are decreased, our perceptual capacity increases. They say passions are blinding. True. So when we let the passions go, get rid of them, the blindness is taken away. And so our perceptual capacity will increase as a result of making the changes, making these readjustments that people are going to be called on to make due to the changes in our world. You see? The only folks who will be doomed are those folks who cannot make the readjustment. And they won't be able to make the readjustment because the passions won't let them go. You see. This requires actually moderation of lifestyle, moderation of views, how you see people, how you've been dealing with people. You see, your views relative to the traditional things that you have done, whatever it was that you did in the old neighborhood, or whatever you have done in what we can call the old life, because we're going into a new situation, a new life now, you see. And so, as we make these changes, our perceptual capacity will increase. We will become more knowledgeable of our world due to the changes that are forced upon us due to climate change. You see, the ancient scriptures tell us about these things. It tells us about redemption. This is where probably most people get the word redemption from. The Bible, if you're a Christian, or whatever your religious scriptures are, this is where you get the idea of redemption from. To redeem yourself is usually seen as in a religious context. Redeem yourself from the sins that you have committed, according to the old scriptures. You know what I mean? Well, we're using this readjustment in the same way, but we don't see it in the same way, because when they talk about redeeming yourself, let's say in the scriptures, it's redeeming yourself from sins that you have committed. But people who are making readjustments to life due to climate change, etc., don't see themselves as having made a sin. But the religious scriptures see this as a sin, because passions are tying you to the old ways. That is the sin relative to what they are in the context of the religious scriptures. So, redemption is redemption, and it has to do with freeing yourself from your passions, which allows you to make necessary changes, and it gives you a greater sense of perception. It increases your perceptual acuity. You see the world through a clear lens, so to say. You see. So we see now that in climate change that there's going to be difficulties, but we also see that when these difficulties are overcome, that we will have increased, our perceptual abilities, and this means that we will be able to increase, or will have increased, the way we live our lives. We have increased, let's say, our views, etc., and how we see the world will have improved. You see, and we will live better lives for it. So, they say that Sometimes good things come out of bad. Yes, if you can make the change, if you can make the readjustment, because usually people were in love with what they call the bad. But they, once they realize, that they have to make an adjustment, they make the adjustment and improve their lives by doing that, by making the adjustment. Okay, folks, thank you very much, and pay attention to the prophecies. You see, they have meaning, especially in times of crisis. Okay, I hope this is interesting to you, and I hope that you subscribe and tune in again and again. And have a good one and take care of yourselves. And don't forget, make your readjustment. All right, bye bye.